2025, January 7th. My name is Joey Ragona. This is Heart-Centered Marketing. And we start off with a little bit of a glitch because I just forgot to schedule things in. I've had one of those days, Lauren, and I don't know about you, but I have been so caught up in routine, which is a great thing. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that today with teams and stuff like that. But today has been one of those days where, because I've been off for the last 2 weeks, like these little glitches that is just so, because it's out of routine, I just forget to do them. And this is one of them. You're in the green room now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to schedule this inside of Ecamm. So that's why we're a couple of minutes late. Welcome and Happy New Year, by the way, Lauren.
Happy New Year. How are you?
There you go. That's how it is. It was pretty funny today that these little things happened, and I know we're going to touch on this today, which hopefully this is now getting out to the world. You're watching us. Thank you for watching us live with a hashtag live, hashtag replay. If you're watching the replay, welcome to 2025. Everything is relatively great because it's been starting off where I just talked about this on the Academy call today. And I said, guys, when you get into routines and you have teams and SOPs and procedures and all these things in place, your business is so cool because the top level is all taken care of. Like, these are the big moves and all the things we talked about already with you and I in the last couple of weeks of
Yeah.
2024. And then in the weeds, I said, you're going to spend a lot of your time in the weeds. This is how I see it. I don't know if you agree or not, but this is what I've experienced, that we find ourselves going down into the weeds, which is a good thing, by the way, because the weeds are the tactics, or not the tactics. Yeah, there's the tactics and the tasks themselves that can actually change along the way. This is the big picture. Want to make $1 million, want to do whatever. But then the tactics and everything is when you get in the weeds. But when you have procedures and teams and all these other things in place, those weeds are actually a cool place to live. That's how I see it. I don't know what you think about that. And maybe I'm off track of what we're going to talk about, but take the lead on this one.
I totally agree. And Happy New Year. I just realized we ended the year together. We're starting the year together. And that is
Amazing.
so cool. So cool.
It is.
So I know way back last year, we were talking about planning and setting yourself up for success in 2025. And we mostly spoke. And so I thought it would be good to speak about people today, because nothing happens without people, and it makes such a difference. Like your personal relations, the people you've got around you personally, professionally, it impacts everything. So you can have all 100%. The plan, everything in place, but if you don't have the support and the right support and the quality of support, then it can be a struggle. So
exactly,
I don't know
right.
how you feel about diving into this today, but I thought it would be fun to jump into.
Yeah, let's do that. By the way, I'm looking down here at my iPad because that's the only way I can see the comments inside the Facebook group. So I'm not ignoring you. I wanted to say hi to Collie. She's here live. Thank you for being here live, Collie. Yeah, people. It's funny because you. I know you got a cute story to share, but this is kind of funny too as well. In terms of people, teams are really important for me, and I've been building that in the last year. And I don't know what I would do without Kath, without my team. And it was funny because today, just a couple hours ago, again, I messed up a couple things. It's like in the Academy thing, I'm like, oh, the link and whatever. It doesn't matter what the details were, but I messed it all up. It's all on me. And so some people couldn't get into the call today because I screwed up the link. Anyway, so then she messages me and says, yeah, people are trying to get in, this and that. And I said, yeah, I got a couple of messages here that they didn't get in. And I said, I'm hoping that we could fix this up. No fault on you, but I'll do an SOP on this and make sure it doesn't happen again. And she's like, cool, whatever. And then I said, because really what my job is, I can't be worrying about all this other stuff, like this admin stuff and getting emails or messages and stuff. I just can't be there doing that while coaching. And I said, it's great that you can just handle all that admin stuff. She goes, yeah, I got it. And then I said to her, I go, wow, you make my heart skip a beat when you say that. Like a good thing. Like it's just so great to have that other person and to appreciate them at that level that they can take all of that off their hands. So I'm totally with you on this.
Yeah, and I love what you said because that's a big thing is appreciate people, right?
Yeah.
Don't take it. And you know what makes me so happy to do is to either write in or fill out a survey just raving about someone. And especially if I can phone. So I always say to them, I'm sure you get hundreds of calls of people complaining and bitching. And so I just want to tell you that's not happening today. And it makes me so happy to be able to do that because I know that the people in the roles that they are probably don't get the appreciation that they should. And
Yeah.
so I love it. And of course, you would do that because that's who you are.
Yeah, well, I thank you for that. I've learned to be better at that, to verbally say those things out loud and to recognize, like you said, that even for somebody who is an assistant who's doing that all their life or whatever, and they don't get that appreciation because I see it when I say those things almost daily. She will say thank you for that, or I really appreciate you saying that, and so that's it's apparent that they're not getting the appreciation. And there's nothing wrong with being appreciative or grateful for someone, even on the marketing side of things too. It's just reaching out to people and saying, just thinking about you today, how's everything going, what's happening, not for a sale. It's just how do you just I want to continue this conversation or this communication. I want to be in a relationship with you in in a respectful way. So it's super important. But people are, I don't know, and I haven't been great at this. I had to learn how to be like this because I'm a natural introvert, and I just keep everything to myself a lot, and I expect people to know that I love them, right? But like, no, maybe you should say it out loud once in a while, right? Or I appreciate you. So I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Uh, and, talking about teams, it's so important. And I just think of these big companies because, I've been in that world and a lot of the people that I try and do this for are in like retail and big companies. And
Yeah.
it just makes me sad that how undervalued. I'm not obviously not everywhere, but without those people, everyone's nowhere. And so anyhow, that it kind of jumps to quality of communication. So here are the three things that I thought about that stick out for me.
Okay.
It's your inner circle, right? Who are you surrounding yourself by? Because it matters. Your quality of your communication, right? How clearly, how explicitly you communicate in all ways, right? And then reciprocity, right? How are
Mm-hmm.
you value? Are you looking more to give than to receive? Because that influences relationships as well. And so I feel like it's like a tripod, and all the pieces have to be there to give the greatest chance and possibility of having amazing teams, amazing relationships, amazing people around you. Um, so I don't know where you want to start.
Well, I would like to know, is there I think maybe I'll let you pick where you want to start because I know you've built amazing team. Like you built how many coaches? Did you go from like 0 to like 50 coaches, 100 coaches?
Tend to, depending on the time, like tend to between like 38 and 45.
Yeah, so that's a
In
lot
terms
of coaches. So
of,
and those are all built in relationships, right?
yeah, well, they stay on based on relationship.
They stay based on
Right.
relationships. Okay. So what what
Well,
can you
actually,
teach
say
me
that
or
again.
us?
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to say some of them came in because of relationship, but they stay because of relationship.
Okay, so
Guaranteed.
that's one. Okay, that's one big thing that I've learned as well. My good friend and coach Giovanni mentioned to me many years ago, because I'll give him credit for this. I don't know if, but he's the first person I heard this from. He said that people come into your world or your community or your program. Especially, it was basically specifically about a program. They come in for the program for the result for the transformation, right? But then they stay for the community. And I'll never
Mm-hmm.
forget those words. And I really didn't understand what those words meant until I did it. and I wasn't trying to do it. It just was, wow, I can see that now, because people would buy my program or whatever it is, become in your world, or however anybody listening is looking at this, and they were like, I want that, but then they would just stay there because of the relationships that they built through the actual cohort itself or the coaching. So that's a big one for me, and that's what you're saying, is that they stayed for the relationships, right? They came in maybe in a different way, but then they stayed with you because of the relationship that you built. Correct?
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So where do you want to go
So,
with this? Which one is the most
I,
important one? Do you see right away?
well, I think it starts with your inner circle,
Yeah.
right? Because if you don't have a good inner circle, then even if you communicate well, like to who, right? And if you don't have an inner circle, there's reciprocity and value, but to what point, right?
Yes.
Because, I mean, we don't want to do things randomly and we want to move things along, right? For
Right.
different. So, your inner circle matters, right? And I'm going to start, we just spoke about this, but I'm sure most people have heard the phrase that you're the average of the 5 people you spend most time with.
Yeah.
And I know so many people think, oh, that's just a saying. People just say that, but it is so true. And I've experienced this so many times, not so many, but there's some significant times in my life where I experienced this. And again, we can only connect the dots looking back, Steve Jobs, right? But when I look back and I see where I was when I started hanging out with certain people and where I was when I maybe moved on, like I was not the same person,
Yeah.
whether it was for worse, right? It it absolutely matters. And um, if you don't think it's true, then try it. Go hang out with a different crowd of people. Because I guarantee you, if you're a healthy person and you're health conscious, and you start, and not that I've got no judgment, but you start hanging around with people who may be couch potatoes, or they're like, like they just live a different lifestyle, a polar opposite, you will become like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
phrase that, if you don't if you don't become the average of the 5, it to me, that is the greatest strength of character you can see in anyone, because that doesn't happen by chance, right? And so there's always exceptions, but so it's possible, but you have to be conscious and work at it. It has to be front and center, and I think for a lot of people it's not. So anyhow,
Coley
let me
says
share.
absolutely.
Yeah. So let me share a funny story. So before I reconnected with Joey, I was on the ball with everything, disciplined, got stuff done. So then I reconnect with Joey, and he's telling me, oh my gosh, he's so behind in his finances and his taxes, and he doesn't know how he's ever going to get caught up. And I'm giving him all these strategies, like do this, do that, plan it this way. And we just got on, we were chatting before this started, and I go, you're not going to believe it. I've not done mine. I have not started. It's been on my list for months. And so I'm in the same boat. Now, I know this is like the whatever, but you know what? And I'm not going to lie, there are times where it's crossed my mind. Well, Joey hasn't done his.
And he's still alive.
I think of it,
This is not a great testimonial, by the way, but I'll take it.
but no, but we found a solution,
We did.
right?
You did.
So, but the point is more that, I mean, this was just a sweet solution, and it probably has got
Yeah.
nothing to do with it. But it matters. So here's the thing. I think it's important to look who you're spending time with, to look who you're giving time to look who's taking time from you, and where's it going. Not everyone in your life can have the same role. So, if you look at it, your inner circle, maybe the 5 people, right? Who you trust, who you're on the same page with, who got your
Yes.
back, who want to see you succeed, who probably and hopefully are as successful or definitely more successful, right?
Yes.
That's a tight circle. and what they get access to about you, with you, whatever, is different.
Yep.
And then you've got another circle around you, which is maybe family and close friends. Like, those friends that you can phone at 3 o'clock in the morning and they know they'll be there for you and they'll take care of you. And then you've got your periphery friends, good
That's right.
friends, out with them, no, kind of neutral. No, don't do any good, don't do any harm. Not don't do any good, but they 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 just they're fine. You have a good time with them, nothing changes.
Right.
And then
Right.
people that are not good for you, right? That
Right.
either it's or their standards or their values. And so
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing for people, and myself included, is to move people around,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because things change, people change, circumstances change, right? And so things have to change. It's
Yeah.
a good
It
thing.
it is a good thing, and with our situation, it's kind of like this invisible persuasion of some kind. It's uncanny how it works, and it's not like you're telling someone don't do your taxes or don't do your finances and stuff, but it's just this other. It's just that you're attaching to some other thing. It's probably not the negative part. It's more of, oh, um, he's doing more content, or he's building Notion out more. Like, why? Like, so that influences you to maybe get off track of other things, which may or may not be good for you. And so, by the way, so Collie says, I'm just gonna. Where did you say that, Collie? She says, together you found the way and did it, and now it's fine. Well, we're doing it. So here's what we're doing. So let's just share with the world what we're doing. So we decided that we're going to have a personal brainstorming session, not a brainstorming session, but an accountability session live together. And these are one of the greatest things that you can ever do is if you have an accountability partner, someone who you can trust, and you're not doing it. You just open up Zoom and say, okay, here's what I'm doing for the next hour. Put it on mute and go do it. And that's what Lauren and I are going to be doing now over the
So
next couple
excited.
weeks. Yeah.
No, more sooner than the next couple of weeks. I didn't get this done.
Yeah. Okay. So she'll be done faster than me, but at least you'll get
But
me started in the right direction.
but I've never done this before.
Hmm.
I've never. When you said accountability, I'm going, oh, here we go again. I'll tell you I'm doing it. You'll tell me you're doing
Yeah.
it. Then we'll go, oh, I didn't do it. Like I go, like, oh, I'm not so keen. But then when you explained like your definition of accountability, and that goes to what we'll talk about next is communication. Like I'm going, I'm totally in, right?
Yeah.
And so here's another thing is that's important is for ego to get out of the way. And I was just saying this to a friend the other day. I don't know ever, and I can literally say this without it being exaggeration or drama, I don't ever remember having to be held accountable to do anything. 8 years old, did what I had to do. I've never had to be held accountable. And I realized this year, particularly towards the end of the year, I need that right now. And so I'm putting that in place. So we have to recognize, as I say, things changed, right? My year was very different, and I was kind of in uncharted territory, and I needed help with something that I've literally in my whole life never needed help with,
Right.
right? And so then to have the right people around you that can, right, if you've got the right people around you who think the same way, have the same values, then this was easy. But imagine if
Exactly.
I was surrounded by, fly by the night, oh, we'll get it done, whatever, don't worry kind of thing. And not that there's anything wrong with that, because I need to be like that sometimes, and I'm not. But then this probably wouldn't have happened.
Right. Yeah. I agree. I agree. And we got some comments here. So Collie, oh, you're living this too as well. So, and Lorna says Zoom buddies sessions are awesome. I agree. Totally agree. And productive. I've been doing Zoom thingies for a while now. I even had them built into my academy where we would have like the coaching on Tuesday, and then we would do Wednesday whatever they were called, I forget what they're called, huddles. And I would just say, listen, there's nothing that, I mean, you can come and ask me questions, but basically it's for us to get work done. That's it. So we talked about stuff on the coaching on Tuesday. Let's go and get some of that work done. I'm going to be doing work anyway. We may as well just open up Zoom and see each other and high five each other in the hour or whatever it was. And those were kind of fun. I miss doing those and I want to do more of them. But it is, for me, I'm not really sure it's about accountability, but it probably is. It's more about focus and discipline. It's about, okay, I'm committing to you, which is accountability, I guess, right at the beginning of the hour, and say I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna whatever, reconcile my account. This is the thing I'm gonna go do. And I found it that going back to the team, even with Kath and all the other the members, it was as soon as something would go that I would have to explain or whatever, I was accountable to them and I had to build the processes around those things, which made me more disciplined, which actually gave me incredible amounts of time now to this day of being able to do the stuff that I want to do, which is creating content, by the way. And even today, for example, I don't know if it's tying in, but I'm pretty sure it'll tie into what we're talking about. Even today, I asked, can you go and format this post or do something with the post? And she didn't know how to do it. I'm like, okay, cool. This is how you do it. But I wanted to be accountable. I don't know if the right word is accountable. I wanted to get it, make my future life easier or a future person coming in easier. So I said, here's how you do it. And then I made a very quick document out of it and go here. And now we've got it. So I never have to repeat that again. It's not that I don't want to repeat it again. It was more of, okay, let me be accountable to this process now and make sure that you understand how to do this. And anybody else in the future knows how to do this. So it was a combination of the two, having buddies like yourself on Zoom, just doing writing or copy, whatever we were doing, making sure that things are getting done. And the same thing is being accountable to the team to make sure that, don't worry, I'll take care of this. Make sure that the video's recorded, the document is done, and we'll never have to search for this again, or it's always right there. Oh, like what a breakthrough. What a breakthrough. And I love that kind of accountability, if you want to call it that.
And that's what keeps people right. You're making their life, it's automating things. It's streamlining things. And when you can make things easier for team members, when you can make it easier for someone to do what they need to do, then that's valued and appreciated. It just is. But something else that, again, like, it blows my mind because I know how, and so I have to clean up at the end of the year, everything. I go through my phone, I go through my laptop. I don't like clutter, right? And I'm very organized, as you know. So I've been creating a lot of content. And so it was organized, but there was duplications and it just was still messy. It was an organized mess, right? And I thought, oh my God, you've got that done. And then I'm sitting there and again, you come up and I go, but Joey's got spreadsheets. And he's got this, it's so organized. So I go, you know what? I'm doing a spreadsheet too. And so I was thinking of what you were showing me and I'm going, that's a good process. And so I must have spent an entire day organizing my content. And so here's the thing. As you said, you didn't tell me to do that.
No.
But I'm surrounding myself with people who are smart, who have good standards, who have a standard of excellence. And so we learn from each other. I'm going like, man, Joey's set the bar high. I thought my bar was high when it came to this.
I appreciate that.
No. And that's how we get better. That's how we become better. But it's because of who's around.
Right.
So here's my challenge for everyone is to, I go through my whole phone list, pull out my phone, and first of all, I delete people. I hate to say it, but I do. I clean up at the end of the year. And then I take time and I think like, who do I want in that inner circle? And it's more the inner circle for me is work related. I've kind of got two for work and personal, and often there's an overlap. And I literally like I consciously think about it, and then I do what I can to make that happen. So there are people that won't get from me what they maybe got from me in the past. I'm never going to be rude. I'm never going to be disrespectful. But they're just not.
I get it.
And I'm okay with that.
Me too.
But it's often not the popular thing to do, and I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to like make something,
Well, I'll add to that in a second. First of all, I wanted to give some props up here to Lorna. She says, where are you here, Lorna? I agree. The Zoom buddies isn't accountability, at least not in the truest form. Whoop, this keeps disappearing. It's body doubling, which helps keep focus 100%. At least for me, it's more about focus, and it's about where's my energy going, which is what I want to talk about. I think you were the one who told me about the Introverts book, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just started reading that last week, so I'm halfway through now. Love it, and I'm so grateful that there's an understanding out of like how I operate, where my batteries get charged, and how they deplete, and all these things, and I'm very aware of all this stuff because I get my batteries depleted very quickly, especially when it's at social events. So what we do in terms of what you were just saying about deleting, and we're going through this right now in my Facebook group, we purge the group every 6 months. So every 6 months, I look at the group and we put up a couple of posts and we give everybody a chance to respond to the post. People that are like more than 3 months old who have just joined the group, right?
Yeah.
And we don't have a big group. We're not like thousands and thousands of people. There's less than, I can't even remember now, 500 people, if that. I always keep it low because I want a very small group of engaged people. That's how my life is, right? And same as my clients, right? I have a very small group of people that I can expend my energy to them
100%.
1,000% rather than 1% for each person. So that's just the way that I operate in my world. And so we do the same things. We go in, and it's not. People might look at, why would you build your group in order to just delete people and get them out of there? Well, the whole point is that we want engagement. We want to be able to help people. We want that to continue, like to have a conversation back and forth, not just another person who is in 167 groups. So it's an unpopular thing to do, but it is very rewarding for us and for the people that are in the group who've even messaged me personally and said, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate that. This is not a group that we get lost in. And I've joined groups and I'm in some groups that you are just this, like, oh man, this little speck. Yeah, I'm not giving any disrespect to the group owners or anything, but it's the fact that there's just so much noise, there's so much things, or it's completely dead. You could have 100,000 people and there's nothing happening whatsoever. And so I am all about who's in my inner circle right now. Who is it? And like you, if there's even people that are personally associated with me, I won't be rude or anything. I'll just cut them out, just stop. That they're not associating with me, they're not doing anything, then I will respectfully say, you're probably better off in that other area over there.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, so I agree. I don't know what anybody else thinks. If you want to give us a comment, let us know. I'd love to know from you. Give us a hashtag live if you're watching us live, or please a hashtag replay if you're watching the replay, and that'll let me know. And give us some more comments or questions or anything that you'd like to ask us. Lauren, back to you.
Oh, talking of groups, I just pulled myself out of a group. I can
Cool.
always go back to it,
Yeah,
but this also speaks to inner circle, and it's for me a big part of inner circle. Yes, it's the energy, just the vibe and the energy. So it's a
exactly.
group. I'm just gonna, obviously there's always exceptions and it's a bit of a blanket statement, but the vibe and the standard there, again, not everyone's different,
Yeah,
right? And what's is not right for other people and vice versa. The whole vibe and just, I don't know, the drive and ambition, I guess, is just not there. And even though I never go on Facebook, I'm hardly ever on Facebook, I hardly even ever go into that group, for me just the fact that I know I'm there was not sitting nicely with me.
I totally understand that. I totally get it.
And then to your point about you want people who are who are going to participate and contribute, that's the whole thing of reciprocity, right? What are you know, if you're just going to be that person that sits there and takes what everyone else is contributing and never give back, it's not a good exchange for anyone,
Right. Right.
right? So how do you expect to be like kept in that group kind of thing?
Right.
Like when it's so so all these things. So now if you bring it back to team, right? So you asked me like how I built that team is, first of all, to the extent that I could be, and it was anyhow, to the extent that I could be, I was brutal about who I brought on. My interviews were insane, that I got a lot of pushback for, and yet my team had the longest longevity or whatever, retention, right? I can't tell you how many times I got emails from people who interviewed and didn't get hired and thanked me,
Really?
right?
Okay.
For the honesty, the transparency, like if I always left them with value, right? If they weren't into getting hired, they knew why. I gave them things to go and work on, you know, so I feel like I served in a way, not what they wanted. But you know what? I've also said to them, you wouldn't have wanted to get hired. You wouldn't have been happy. So
Exactly.
the other thing is that I did everything that I could to do things like you did, create trainings, have resources, help people to be independent, help them to have everything that they need so that I could take, so instead of me doing that live every time, training someone on the same topic, like, oh my God, a dozen times a month, it took me weeks to create all that content or training. But then I had the time to actually work with people one-on-one to
That's
help my,
right.
right? And so there was, they got value beyond their paycheck. You know, they got growth and they became better. And so it's about bringing the right people on. It's about putting the right people in the right role, right? Because so often, and this is maybe more when teams are in existence, people maybe get promoted. And they get promoted because maybe there's no one else or it's a natural transition, but they never get given the skills to be effective at that next level. And so it's the quality of who you bring in. And I remember, what's his, you know Harvey Mackay, he wrote Swimmer
Yes.
Ox.
Yes.
I'll never hear him, I've heard him speak many times, but one thing that he said that always stuck in my mind was, don't settle when you interview or when you hire. He
Right.
goes, you settle, it will be the worst nightmare. He goes,
Yes.
just wait till you get the right people. And so that's the other thing, is to not wait till it's a panic. Oh my God, like I need someone now. That's going to happen. But just to keep nurturing it and keep growing and, you know, looking to the future. But also, it's being explicit in appreciating people, that, you know, thanking them, giving them a shout out when they do well, you know, complimenting the good things, not always, oh, you can improve here and you can improve here. And obviously that has to happen. But, you know, at the end of the day, everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to know that they matter. And to your point earlier, we can't assume that because we feel it and think it, that that person's going to know.
Yeah.
And so if you don't say it, then they don't know it.
Yeah, they don't know. And even if you said it a few times, it's just repeat it again. Like it's you don't do it to inauthentically. Like I truly appreciate the things that I tell Kath and everybody else that I work with. And to your point is what was I going to say? There was the hiring piece. I want to go back to that for a second because I was definitely in a position of desperation and did the hiring thing, and that didn't really work out. And the better I got at it, I'm still getting better. But we even actually talked about this today. Like, were you hanging around on my wall somewhere? Because it's
Oh,
uncanny
I have
about
to
the
say
stuff you're talking about.
as well that you're hanging on my wall
Yeah,
sometimes as
it's
well.
like we just talked about this today, and I was talking about hiring, outside help and all that. And I said, do not be afraid to ask for exactly what you want. And not only that, in the hiring process, do not be afraid to go through a boatload of questions,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're looking for outside help on, the VAs and all that, because that's one of my biggest filtering processes. And I showed them my stuff, and they're like, "Holy crap!" And I go, "Yeah." When they get to this piece, like they'll answer whatever it is, and then I'll ask them a couple questions, but then they go through a process, and the next process would be, okay, go fill out this form, which basically answers a couple of more questions. Not hard to do, but then it's like, great. If you pass that, it's like, then I want to get into a conversation with you. Can I ask you a few more questions? And that process is a more deep thinking type of process, which filters out totally the wrong people. Because they eventually five questions in, they're like, "Is how many more questions do you have for me here?" And right away, that tells me you're not the right person for me. Because
Yeah.
I know my own process. So, and Kath and I, we were talking about this the other day, and I showed her, because not only, so here's the thing, not only did I go through that asked the questions, when you get to that level, I'm copying and pasting your answers, right? So we went through this process because we were hiring another person, and I was telling her about this little thing. And I go, "Do you remember back? Actually, by the way, all the questions you went through?" She's like, "Yeah, I remember all those questions." I go, "Yeah. Here's a couple of. Do you remember what you said to this?" And she's like, "No, I don't remember." I go, "Actually, I do. Here's what you said." And then I went over and I copy and pasted. She's like,
Gosh.
"What?" I go, "Yeah, I copy and paste everything because I want to have it all there." And so it's that I wanted the right person for me. Attention to detail is the biggest thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Huge, right? So if I don't put that in my communication, which is what you were talking about, if I don't say that this is very, very important to me, I'm not going to get attention to detail. And this will all come to full circle in a second, because the people that did not get through the first piece of it, the interview process, were people who were not attention to detail, who said they were. And so I left them with value like you did. So they would say, hey, whatever. And then I would say, sorry, but I'm going to be moving on to somebody else. And I would say, by the way, here's the reason why. And I would just let them know, I'm looking for someone who's attention to detail. I'm not sure if you noticed, but in the actual post, which is what I do when I'm hiring people, is I always have 3 to 4 different traps, if you want to call them, or things
I
that
was
they
just going
need to do, right? And so they don't do that. And I go, you missed this one thing. And if your attention to detail, you should have seen that. It's like, it's front and center. So I let them know, and they always say thank you, whether they're mad at me or not. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And I go, well, that's the reason why I'm not moving on with you. So anyway, I know you want to interject there with something.
so so I think some of the best people who hire for a team, recruiters or whatever, are coaches because they know
Mm,
what questions to ask.
yeah.
They understand people, they know people, and so few people that I'm aware of, and obviously, like I haven't had a ton of exposure to this, but when I'm interviewing, I do the same thing because I don't want you to tell me you're organized and tell me, like, show
Yeah.
me.
Exactly.
So,
Show me.
so for example, Arizona, I think it's the only state in the whole of America that doesn't have daylight saving. So when daylight saving comes in, like, it's just a disaster, right? Because are we Mountain Standard Time? Are we so I put Arizona time, so the meeting's at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I always got pushback. Why would you do that? Why didn't you put it at Pacific Standard Time? Because then it will be so much easier. This isn't about easy. If they can't figure out what time to be at an interview, they're not my
Yeah.
person.
Right. Right.
So things like that, or so exactly what you're doing, right? And um, and you've got to ask the right questions. You have to ask open.
100%.
Like I would, like, oh, it's 20 hours hours a week. Can you handle that? Well, obviously, I'm in an interview. I'm going to say I can handle it, right? You have to be smart if you want the right people, and
Yes.
it's strategic, and so it's just you. And you know what the other thing is what I look for, is preparation. And in my situation, it was very different, but when I was interviewing, if people really wanted to join the team, there was one no-brainer way for them to knock it out the park. Like literally the blueprint. There was not one, in all the years that I was hiring, there was not one person who did it. And
Do
that
you want
was,
to share?
like, yes. So when I hired, it's a coaching, right? So part of the process is you need to coach someone on the team, right?
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
normally have like a peer of mine who understands what we're looking for, and they coach that person, and then I'm like this, observe. And so whatever topic they were given, and they knew ahead of time, there was a training available to them where I explicitly went through every possible scenario of the topic. I gave all the questions. If the person says this, you say this. It was a 20-minute video. It blew me away that no one thought, well, let me go and watch the video. She's telling us what to do. And they come as if they was like, you know what, just don't waste my time.
Yep.
Because it just to me, that's a lack of resourcefulness. That's like, how much do you really want this? You obviously, to me, that says, yeah, you know what, this is just, what I've got is good enough.
Yep.
And again, that's my interpretation, that's my perspective. Maybe that's not how those people were feeling, but that's what they showed.
No,
You
it's
know?
forward thinking. That's one of the biggest things for me too. Is I even put that in my posts, and even I'm always talking about that. I'm always using that language. Is I need you to be forward thinking. I'm not going to be there to. I'll be there to answer your questions, but I don't want to be the bottleneck. I don't want to be. I need you to be forward thinking. Hey, I did this. This is the job I'm doing, but I also did this thing. Is that okay? Yes, that's fantastic. Or I probably wouldn't do that. Let's not do that. But you make decisions, right? So that's a big thing for me. And by the way, I just want to skip back because I know Lauren Lauren is asking, did they read? She's going back to the post that I did. No, they didn't read. Most of it was AI, and it was all classic too. And funny thing about the post, I just showed it to all my Academy members today, and I said, I go, here's the post. And they're like, so did you get all these people? How many people did you get? And I go, about 100 people, applied. And maybe 10 of them I had conversations with. That shows you how many that I rejected, because as soon as I don't see the thing I'm looking for, which is the first part is how you start the conversation, right? And as soon if I don't see that right up front, you're gone. I'm not even going to read it. I don't care. I don't care who you are. Okay, I'm not going to read it. So that's the first thing. So none of them read it. And then there's the other part in about the AI, because I said, and by the way, if you're using AI, make sure you're not using AI, and let me know that you're not using AI in your reply, right? And so some of them would do that. It's like I'm not using AI for this response. That's the way I word it, or something like that. And they would take that reply and go to an AI an AI detector, and it's like 85% is AI. I'm like, oh my god, like. So then I would call it back out. So you just wrote that you didn't do AI, but here's the detection, and I would screenshot and give it to them. Anyway, and then another cool thing about this, I don't know where we're going on this, but this is kind of cool. Maybe everybody can pick up on this. Kazim, one of my friends, was on before, and he was like brilliant at building teams, and he has this one really great snag about what you just said in terms of the go watch this thing or whatever, and it was about the project, right? So I hire you and I say, okay, how can you do this project for me? And you're like, yeah, cool. I go, so how long is it going to take you? And you're like, well, I don't know, a week. Like, okay, cool. Let me give you the resources and I'll give you the link to the project, right? So what he does is he gives the wrong link, or the wrong opt-in, or the wrong passcode, right? So he waits. And if you're
Yes.
emailing me, right, if you're emailing me the night before of the morning that it's supposed to be due,
Right.
you're you just found that out. You just saw that it's the wrong link or the wrong. I thought that was a brilliant way to filter out people who are, like you said, they're not preparing. They're last minute. And I'm like, that's fantastic. So if you're ever doing this again, Lauren, here's an example from where advice that you're not asking for, but
No, no,
it would
no.
be
That
give
is,
the wrong link to the video, right? It's like, Lauren, I clicked the link and
I,
it's not taking me anywhere.
I had a similar thing, and this wasn't intentional, but it speaks to that. I had an interview with someone. No, it wasn't an interview. It was a performance review, and they were not doing well. So I get on Zoom, and I'm sitting there, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm going like, oh my God, this is exactly why they're not performing. So I email them, and I go like, where are you? And they go, well, you didn't send me the link.
Ah, yeah.
I go, okay, that's fine. We are all human. I'm sorry I didn't send the link. And you haven't asked for it?
Exactly.
So, like, so here's the thing. People may be listening to us and going, oh my God, they're so arrogant. Like, who are they to be doing or saying these things? Because we want the right inner circle.
That's right.
Right. You know what? If you're gonna let things be random, then you're gonna have a random life. And so it might sound brutal, and it might sound, I don't know, mean. I don't know how some people may not be interpreting this well, but that's the difference.
No, that's it's huge because that's another one Kazim does as well. He purposely, and I stole this from him too, and I did this, and it worked. He purposely does not give the information needed like the right away. So I'll say to you, "Hey, listen, I need you to do this project. Let me send you some information on it, and then I'll just leave it." So you're in my Slack and you're waiting, and I'm seeing you there, and you're not asking me like, "Hey, Joey, I thought you're supposed to be forward thinking. You're supposed to be on top of the ball. This is the first test. The first test is, sorry, I don't know when you're supposed to send me the thing. Like, at least acknowledge that I haven't done the thing, right? Because that's what I'm looking for. So, like, I agree with you that people listening to this might think that we're on our high horse and who do we think we are, but truly, this is what I need. Like, the entrepreneur, the way that I operate, I need someone on top of everything because I'm forgetting so many things, right? So that's a big thing for me. So yes, in this case, I would do it intentionally, but you can ask Kath, go have a conversation with her. How many things I forget, how many things that I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, and she's like, hey, did you know you have a conversation with Lauren tomorrow? You didn't do the thing. Oh, that's right. Thank you very much for that. Right. So
Yes, you want people who've got your back,
yeah,
but
exactly. The inner circle.
they have the same values, the same drive, the same everything. You need to be on the same page, right?
Yeah. Lorna's saying,
And
sorry, Lorna's just referencing one of the one of the things I always talk about the reading because yeah, I know she still hears in my head, don't be afraid to read. I'm always saying that, always saying that. Don't be afraid to read. I even say it to myself. Don't be afraid to read, Joey. So, even with the team or Kath, I'm like, look, did you read the SOP or did you open the SOP? And she's like, yes, I opened the SOP. Did you read it? It doesn't matter if you open it, but are you reading and following it? Right. So yeah, it's one of my catchphrases, and I'm giving that back to my buddy Nick. So we've
when
grown up
I
with doing
when
that.
when I was married and we traveled a lot, and I just showed up. My ex, he was amazing. He had everything dialed in, and I literally just had to show up. I'll tell you a funny story about that, like so funny. But and then I'd say, I don't know, like where's the check-in? Where you go? Read the signs. Read the signs. Read the signs. Like the whole trip, read the signs. But you know what? And it happens to me, I'm so guilty of this. I'll read something, and here's the thing, I will notice the things that I'm specifically looking for and the other details I might miss. Right? So if I'm asking someone, what time are we going to meet? And in their response, they tell me what time and where we're going to meet. I might not even see that because I'm just looking. So that's the other thing. You see what you look for. We've spoken about that, I think, in your academy. But what did I want to tell you that I said? Oh, talking about reading and whatever. So this is just so unrelated, but funny. So when I was married, we were going whitewater rafting, and so we had to fly to Ottawa, and things were very rocky with us, no pun intended. And so I went with a lot of resistance. But anyhow, my husband, he took care of everything. Like, so I knew, like, I don't have to worry about anything. It'll be all organized. And even when we went out for dinner, he had a wallet, he had money. I didn't have to worry about things like that. So we get to check in at the airport, and they asked me, "Where's your ID?" Well, I don't have ID. They go, "How can you not have the ID?" I go, "Because," and this is I'm going to Ottawa. And he looks at me like, "How can you not have ID?" I go, "Because you always have everything."
Yeah.
Right? I don't know why I'm telling you that, but I don't even know how I got on that. But
Well, because like we
I'll tell you
rely.
how.
Go
I'll
ahead.
tell you why. Is you have to, it's good to have complementary skills and talents on a team. Right? So
Yes.
what I want to hire someone who's good at what I'm not good at. I want a bunch of me,
Right. Right.
then we're dead in the water. So it's also knowing, the skills that you need, and balancing it out.
One of the
It
things.
makes
Yeah, I agree with that. Here's the thing, though, for anybody listening, is that a mistake I see a lot of people do is they get a person who's doing stuff that they don't want to do or not great at, but they don't know how that person is doing the thing.
oh
Okay?
yes, that's
That's
okay.
not a good thing, because
No,
if I didn't know everything that Kath is doing for me, then when she leaves, I'd be like, I have no idea how that happens, right? And there's been times where we've figured stuff out together. I'm like, okay, I want to do this. Here's what I want to, whatever it is. And then the first thing I'll say is, let's create an SOP from this, right? Let's create a process from this. Okay. And there's been times, and it's happened recently in the last week, at least a week, where something will happen and I completely forgot what I said. Completely. And when I went back to the SOP, like, oh, that's right. Okay, I know what it was. I know what it was. It was something very simple, but this matters. At least it matters for me. So we were downloading from Canva, okay, like just images. She's making images. And I completely forgot. I don't know why I went into the SOP for some reason, but they're all ping files, PNG files, right? And I want them as JPEGs because they're better image quality. I don't know why, but for some reason that's what we stated at the beginning of it. So I went back in, and I don't know. Again, I don't know why I opened the SOP for some reason. Maybe I was updating it or something, and then I noticed it on the bottom. I go, oh, because it says right there in red, bold. Make sure you change from PNG, because that's what it's defaulted to, the JPEG. And I go, they're not JPEGs. Why aren't they JPEGs? So that's when I went back and used the whole, did you read? Are you like, oh, you're not just opening, but are you reading? Because they have to be JPEGs. And I would have never, it was completely out of my mind. So there's two levels there. One is, okay, that's the agreement, that's the process, let's follow it. But again, if someone else leaves or we hire someone back in, then that person can come in and follow that procedure all the way through.
yeah,
And like, okay, this has to be a JPEG, right? Hopefully that added value to you and everybody else. But it's the process of making sure that everything is documented, and everything that you're hiring somebody else for, you at least have some kind of idea of what's happening, so that you could not maybe just take it all over, but at least get some kind of some get into the seat a little bit and be able to attempt to do the thing, right?
yes, yes. And so it comes to quality of communication. But here's the thing, and this happens to all of us, is it's kind of like that broken telephone syndrome,
Yeah.
right? We start on the same page, and everyone knows, and everyone's doing it, and then somewhere along the way, like, it gets broken. No one's
Right.
fault. But that's why I think it's so important to regroup regularly. Go
All the
back
time.
and go, are we still doing, because otherwise, you can be going to San Diego and end up, I don't know, in Timbuktu. Not intentionally, but that's how things kind of fall apart.
Yeah,
And
I think it's huge to record everything. And even last week with my wife, it was funny because now she's getting into the habit, which is amazing, because it used to frustrate me, because it's like, damn, like just put that thing in Evernote. So our dishwasher, same thing. Something was happening with the dishwasher, and she figured out how to fix it. And I'm like, damn, you got to put that into Evernote. She was like, I'm already on it, right?
Uh,
And I'm already
happy
on it. Yeah. So then what happened is, again, it was so great because 2 days later, what happened? Same thing, and we could immediately find it. So it took her, I don't know how long to find the solution in the first place, but then the second time it happened, seconds. Like, oh, here's what you got to do. Da 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 da. Boom. And that's the whole point of communication, or having a resource to go to, and just getting someone on your team. I mean, in this case, it's my spouse to
yeah.
do the thing, right?
And all of that saves time.
All of it.
Oh my, and frustration.
Frustration. Yeah.
Again, like stupid example, but this is how, you know what all these stories show? Is it's the same, we say, oh, people think, oh, the 5 people, it's BS, right? So the other thing is how you do anything is how you do everything, right? So how you do everything is, you can see it, it's consistent across your life.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't mean we're perfect and we didn't get our finances done, but we will, and at least we know we didn't get it done.
Right.
And so, an example. So, I kept not remembering how to do something on my computer. I'm not the most tech person. So every time I forgot, I had to go to Google and figure out how to do it. And I've got an IT guy, and I go, oh, he's so sweet, he's so patient. Can you send him a text? Can you just remind me how to do this? And I'm like, oh my God. Just write it down, save it as a screenshot, and now I still don't remember how to do it. I think I'll never remember how to do it.
You don't need to remember now.
No, exactly. So my whole point is, do things that make your life easier. Doesn't matter if it's the stupidest thing. What do I care?
No, it's, one of my favorite quotes is from Albert Einstein. And he says, never remember something you can look up. And
I don't know if I agree with that, because
why would you want to remember it?
Oh, but I can look it up in my screenshot. I don't have to go to Google. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So there's
100%.
so your brain is made to create, to be creative, right? There's no reason for me to remember the stuff. So if I'm on a coaching call even with you, and there's, I don't know, 5 steps to how to do social media the right way, I don't need to remember that. It's like, you know what, Lauren, I think the best thing for you is to do these 5 steps to do social media right. I know I've got the steps. Hang on a second. Boom. Here they are, right? Because I'm focused on what's best for you as a coach, or whatever the situation is. So I'm totally living that entire quote. Is like, never remember anything you could absolutely look up. So that's why I'm always storing everything, offloading my brain, so I'm able to do what I want to do, which I believe I'm better as a coach and more creative.
So here's a perfect example of, explicit communication. And and that you can't assume that everyone understands things the same way. So that's why we say to someone, hey, like I had this when I moved from South Africa a lot, because in South Africa say, hey, I'll do it just now. And just now in South Africa means just now, like just now, right now. And no, or it's the other way. I don't remember which way. And then I came to Canada and I'd say, oh, I'll do it just now. Oh, no, it's the opposite. Just now is, I'll get to it. And here it meant something different. So it was always like a miscommunication until we figured it out. But even now, right, you said to me, why remember something when you can look it up? And my thought was, because for me, looking up is going to Google. So I'm thinking, why would he say that? Want me to go to Google every time? How else am I going to do it? But look up, in my world, that's like my go-to, right? But look up is different. Look it up on your screen. And so that's the other thing, is getting people, especially the team, is to go, hey, I need you to do that. And tell me what you understand. Not patronizing, it's not micromanaging, it's, hey, let's just set everyone up for success, because look what happened now. Like, it's so easy for things just to get just not even misunderstood, different meaning, right?
Right.
And so when it comes to team, when it comes to people, in personal relationships, like, it all matters. You know, one of the things, like, a lot of the clients that I work with, they're like unbelievably successful in business. And, you know, relationships and stuff, maybe not as much. And so one of the things often comes up is like appreciating their spouse, right? And what they do. And they go, well, I do. I buy her flowers every Friday, kind of thing. I go like, well, do you know that she understands that that's what it is? Do you know that that's how she wants appreciation to be shown? Because if it isn't, then save your money and don't buy flowers. And so
Exactly.
I think a lot of communication comes from not making assumptions,
Yeah, and
right?
I
So my
want
thing is rather over communicate.
okay, so I want to add to that because you're absolutely right. One of the things where my expectations are very high for anybody working on my team. Not that I'm demanding, but there's certain things that I just want. Like I forward thinking, follow the SOPs, don't be afraid to read, right, Lorna, all that stuff. You know, just make sure that you're doing all this kind of stuff because I'm following the whole, it's actually never memorize anything that you can look up from Albert Einstein. I'm looking at it right now. It's on my Notion page right there as the mantra, and I'm all into that. So like, there's no reason why you need to be remembering this when we've built an SOP for that, right? Where
Yeah.
was I going with this? Oh, okay, the communication. So there's been times on the team where I'm like, are you reading the SOP? Are you doing this? Why aren't you doing it? So then instead of me getting mad and firing them or doing else, I will say, Lauren, help me to understand how I can make this easier and clearer for you. Like, what is it that you need me to do? Like, what do I need to do? So it's not them. They're not the problem, right? And I don't know if there really is a problem. It's just like, how can I communicate it better? What can I do on my side to make it easier for you, for me to get this result, which is open the SOP and read the dang thing, right? Like, how can I make that happen? And a lot of times they will tell you how to make it better, or they'll just say, I just need to be more aware of it, or whatever the thing is. But is that what you're talking about when it comes to over communicating and making sure that everybody's on that same page?
Yes. So like when you're giving instructions to someone, have them tell you back. Okay, I do
Yeah.
that with friggin' Chat GPT. It's like, oh my God. Like, I couldn't have been more clear. And I get not what I want. So what I do now, okay, this is my prompt. You tell me if you understand it, and then we go forward. I fight with it. So even in that case, it's just so things are seamless and things happen more easily, right? And we all like miss things. So how, if the same things keeps getting missed though, then there's something
Yeah,
going on.
there's something else. There's
But
something else to
I
it.
wanted to loop right back to the start of our call, because it's been on my mind the whole time to go on. So I didn't, without realizing it, I did a Zoom accountability with my team today. I mean, my coaches today, my group that I'm coaching, because
Nice.
everyone showed up, and because of the holidays, they hadn't done the homework, the assignment, and the whole session was based on that assignment. And so I said, okay, wow, everyone go off. I'll still be here. If you have questions, go and do it, and then we'll come back. I did that, and I didn't even realize I was doing it.
There you go. Works like a charm, right? I love it. Thank you so much. By the way, Collie, I know she says this has been amazing and always so grateful, Joey. And Lauren, brilliant. Happy 2025. Happy 2025, Collie. Thank you for watching. I know, Lauren, you got some things to do, and I appreciate you.
No,
We were just chopping, just a little choppy there. Not sure if my internet is messing up, but I think we got you.
so here's some takeaways for everyone. So
Sure.
the whole thing was people, we spoke about planning for success in 2025, and now we're speaking about people and team and having that have the best 5 most successful, happy, whatever. So here's 3 things. Pay attention to who's in your inner circle, who you're hanging around with, and if it's not what you want or need, change it. And you don't have to justify to everyone, and you don't have to justify to everyone. But that is going to be a deal breaker, or not a deal breaker.
100%.
It kind of is. So pick who you choose to be around, and as I said, you don't have to be mean to anyone, but get it sorted out. The other is what we've been speaking a lot about, is the quality of your communication.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm coaching, and I probably do that everywhere, I am fanatical about my choice of words, because I know how some things are so easily misinterpreted. I know I've got limited time, and so I need to be effective. But look at your communication. If things aren't happening the way you want, the whole world can't be stupid, right? Or lazy, or whatever it is. Like, we have to take ownership as well. But really pay attention to communication being on the same page, right? And then
Yes.
the last thing, which we didn't get into, but you are this person, is adding value and reciprocity, right? Just look to help people.
Yeah.
Look to add value, but not to the point where it's never being reciprocated, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a balance sheet. You do this for me, I do that for me. But if I'm doing 20 things and you're not doing anything or one, you know what? That's not okay.
Right.
It's not.
Exactly.
And
Right.
so then that brings you someone you want in your inner circle. And so, but just look and see where you can add value with no agenda, just because you can. Why wouldn't you? And it comes back somewhere along the way.
For me,
But
I
if
I
you
love
do it
that.
with the, well,
I don't
you
know
are
why
that. That's who
you
you are.
wouldn't want to do that. Because to me, if you're a giver, if you're that person, it just makes you feel awesome. I even did it today. There was no agenda. It was like, wow, I can help with this because I'm knowledgeable in that area. I don't know about you. I should know. I think you're on the same page as me. Is like you just feel awesome by sharing that knowledge and helping someone out. And then
But
that reciprocity may not come from that specific person. It just comes from the universe, some way, shape, or form.
exactly. But here's the thing: my experience, and I've been around like thousands and thousands of people. Most people are not like that. They're not.
Yeah, it just
Most
blows my mind
people
because I'm.
most people operate from a space of scarcity or jealousy. And jealousy brings out the worst in people. They're never going to share anything with you. In fact, they'll share the wrong things with you. But
Yeah.
most people, I think it's a scarcity mindset. Well, if I give this to you, then more than you've got it, and I've got it. Oh God, it doesn't work
You
like
see,
that.
like this is why in this closing up this conversation and bringing it full circle comes back to what you were saying at the beginning because of like who you hang around with. Like as you're saying this, I understand it and I know it and I've seen it before, but at the other side of it, I'm really kind of shocked by you saying that. Not that I disagree. It's just because my inner circle is all givers. They're all people like us. So I'm like, what are you talking about? That most people are scarcity mindsets, right? And this goes back to proving what you said about who your inner circle is.
And so my inner circle is like yours, I would imagine. But
Yeah.
these are people probably like in the third ring
Yeah.
who I can't even tell you what I've done for them. And with no ego, they wouldn't be where they are.
Right. I get
And
it.
and this year showed me who people really are.
Yeah.
And it was so easy for me to go, I love going it. It's like, I guess, like, what's the dating apps you go, don't like, it's like, gone, whatever.
Yeah.
I just,
It's a cleanse.
because don't have expectations of people. If you don't have expectations, you won't get disappointed. But there's just common decency and manners. I'm sorry. I do expect someone to say thank you if I give them a gift. There's certain things that I do expect. Not because, oh, it's me, it should be. It's just, oh my God, it's just common decency. And if you don't have that value, then we are so not in the same planet. And that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not in mine, it's not. So you go to yours, I'll go to mine, and everyone will be happy. But you have to, so here's the other thing. You have to know what your values are. You have to know what you want to stand for and what you will accept or not. Doesn't mean it's better than someone else's at all.
Right.
But if you don't
100%.
want, then you're kind of like a chameleon. And that's not fun. I've been a chameleon, a people pleaser, I've been down that road.
Lauren,
So,
not Lauren, Lorna just put in a quote. She said that I believe you can be both a giver and have a scarcity mindset. That's another topic, maybe, because I'd like to get more deep into that one, Lorna. I'm not sure I agree with that one.
you know what? I think maybe, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, I think you can be a giver and you need to be discerning about your giving. Right?
Yeah,
So
that's
when
what I mean.
you're
It takes a little bit more get more depth from what she's saying.
that might be a great
It's a really good a topic for conversation, because the way where my mind goes with it, and I know. Thank you for being a little bit more insightful on what she said. Again, we're not putting words in your mouth, Lorna, so I don't know. But for me, my mind goes directly to like what scarcity truly means. It's like, oh, there's not enough in the world, and I want to give money, but I don't. There's not enough money to make. Like whatever, like the real true scarcity mindset. Because I've been in that world so much that to me, that's exactly what scarcity means. So when you're on the giver side, it's like, no, there's enough money to give. Like I'm cool. I'm cool with that. Even though I don't have maybe the most money in the world right now, I'm still a giver, and it's not like I'm thinking, oh man, I'm never going to make enough money. I'm never going to have enough this. Like that's a scarcity mindset. So I don't go to those levels. I go to no, I'm going to give. And that's what really changed my business. Like again, I won't get into the whole story again, but that mindset of no, serve, not sell was the whole, well, I'm not, if I need to make money here. So I need to, I just gave you a lead magnet. So you need to give me some money now to buy my course, right? That whole thing, that exchange was like gone. It's like, no, even getting on a clarity call was like, hey, I'm on this clarity call in order to convert you to buy my program. That was all gone. Like I let go of everything, the whole scarcity part of it. That was, I'm not going to make enough money. There's not enough people in the world. There's not enough all this. It was like, there's enough people to get what I want, as long as I continue to give. So again, Lorna, that's probably not what you're talking about. So yeah, maybe we should just keep that in mind and bring that up for a topic. Maybe do you want to write that down because you're so organized?
I'm realizing, I think my standards have maybe, I think I've had too much flexibility this year, and new step up game, but I'm writing it down because then I don't have.
Right, you don't have to remember, because when Kath reaches out to you next time and says, "What do you want to talk about?" You're going to like, "I'm on it. I've already got it." Right? So.
That's funny.
Right?
Oh my God,
I love it.
funny.
Thank you, Lorna. See, you just made it easier for our future self.
She gave.
Appreciate that.
And look at the benefit.
I'd love to see. So she says, I'd love to see the conversation around scarcity and being a giver. Yeah.
Oh, that's it for next time.
I think that's a great conversation. And I'd love to know, Lorna, about, what you think of it. Put it in the post. Like, what are your thoughts around it? And that'll give us some context and create something out of it. So thank you. Thank you, Lauren. Kept you longer than I promised.
I love these conversations, and I'm so grateful that you keep having me back. And again, like, I'm so happy we reconnected.
Me too.
It took a lot for me to reach out, and I'm so glad I did. And
I'm glad you did too. So you initiated it, but now I'm not going to let you go.
I don't want to go.
I appreciate you, and I
All right.
appreciate you watching every Tuesday night. We took a break. It didn't feel like it was 2 weeks, but it was 2 weeks, and it really threw me off. I'm doing this consistently since 2018 or something like that, and then all of a sudden there was the first 2 week break. It's amazing how much it just throws you off. So now we're back in. We're back in every Tuesday. We'll see you here next Tuesday for another Heart Center Marketing show. Thank you for being here. If you're watching hashtag replay by this point, that would be awesome. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone. Bye, Lauren. We'll see you soon.
Bye.